What is up, guys? Welcome back to Trading Off Tilt. I'm Ryan. Today we're going to be going over Bitcoin's Elliott Wave counts. I'm going to be showing you guys a few possibilities for basically this section right here, this primary wave 4. I'm not going to be going too much into depth on this more macro count, everything beyond the left of this wave 3, because I've already gone over it in previous videos. So if you want to see that, then you can check out my previous Bitcoin Elliott Wave count videos. But for this count, we're mainly going to be going over this section right here. But without further ado, I will give you guys a brief introduction of this more macro count. So we have this wave 1, primary wave 1 right here, down for this primary wave 2. We came up for this primary wave 3 here, and now we're in this primary wave 4. Okay, so now we're zoomed into the wave 4, the primary wave 4. And the count that I'm going to show you guys first is this running flat, or it could also be an expanded flat. But what I'm going with right now is the running flat. And that would start out with this wave A, which is in itself an expanded flat. So this would be a wave A, up for wave B, down for wave C. This wave B would be a zigzag for A, B, C. And then we're currently in this wave C. So the way I count this wave C, if we zoom in, is I put wave 1 right here. So this would be a minute wave 1, up for minute wave 2, 3, 4, 5. To complete this minor wave 1, and then this minor wave 2 would come up through a WXY, and then this minor wave 3 is a little bit tricky, but I put the wave 1 right here, 2 here. This would be a short wave 3 and a short wave 4, and then extended wave 5. And then this wave 4 would be a WXY, and then we're currently in this wave 5, which it's debatable whether it's already completed or not. You could say that this is wave 1, this is wave 2, 3, 4, or this would actually be 3, 4, 5. The reason I'm not doing that right now is because if you do zoom in, then that last wave 5, if you were to put this 3, 4 here, this last wave 5 does not come in the way of a nice 5-wave impulse. So you would want to see, you would want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But instead, you get more of a 3-wave move, so more like an A, B, C. So that's why I'm not inclined to say that the wave 5 was complete right here. So I am looking for lower, but it is debatable. For all we know, this could be, we could say this is a short wave 3, wave 4 here. I'm not going to do that, but it is possible. So we have to keep that in mind. But yeah, let's zoom out a little bit more to give you guys a better picture. So let's get a 2-hour chart. So yeah, so I'm looking for a little bit lower. But the thing is we have to keep in mind, even if we do put in this minor wave 5 right here, it could complete the running flat for this primary wave 4. But it could also just be the first phase of this wave C, where this is all a minor wave 1. Instead of the minor wave 1 here, this whole impulse could have been the minor wave 1 itself, which would bring us up for the minor wave 2. Then we'd be coming down for the minor wave 3, 4, 5. In which case we'd be probably bottoming out quite low. What I'd be looking for, I'm not going to go into detail, but I'd be looking for this order block right here around 24 to 23-ish. Okay, if it were to be a running flat. So yeah, that's this count right here. This count I'm going to give the running flat itself, I'll give an 8 out of 10. I think it is a pretty solid count. And I don't really see a reason as to why I don't see that many reasons as to why it would be a weak count, or you don't really see a ton of drawbacks. So I'm going to say this count is pretty high up there in terms of probabilities, but we just have to wait and see and see what happens. So now let's move on to the next count that I wanted to show you guys, and that would be actually a running triangle. So this is basically under the presumption that instead of this all being an impulse wave, it was actually an A, B, C. But if we were to do that, I need to first mention that if we were to do that, then we'd have to put a minute wave 1 here, minute wave 2 here, which is the same as what we did in this count. The only difference is that we count this whole wave as a impulse wave, and I don't like to do that much, because if we zoom into that section, right, where is it? right here, this would be the section I was referring to. Then it doesn't make a nice 5-wave impulse. You could easily make a better 3-wave move for a zigzag, but you don't get a nice 5-wave impulse to complete this wave 3. So that's one drawback to this count. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. All right, so now you guys know the first drawback to this count, which is this wave 3 and this wave 4, and it's also why I'm not super keen on it, but it is a possibility, so we have to keep that in mind. And yeah, anyways, moving on, we have this wave 5 to complete the wave A, and we came for the wave B. Now we're coming down for the wave C, which, like I said in this previous count, right here, the running flat, we could have already completed this wave C right here at this low, or we could be in a wave 4 and then have yet to come down for the wave C. So we have to wait and see what happens, but I am preferring for it to come a little bit lower, maybe below these lows at least, or even down here to about 37K-ish. We'll have to wait and see, but that's basically the second count right here, the running triangle. And I'll zoom out a little bit more if you guys just want to take a moment to see what it looks like. This would have us coming out to complete the primary wave 4 a little bit later in the year. If we zoom out to the daily chart, it's hard to say exactly, but I would say at least it would probably bring us out to at least May of 2022 of this year, or even into June or beyond. All right, one thing you always want to look at when you're dealing with a triangle correction is the volume profile, because with a triangle, you always want to see decreasing volume throughout the progression of the triangle. So in this case, let's look at the volume profile down here. You kind of get decreasing volume for the most part, but we do get a little bit of an uptick for this wave C, which is not significant enough to the point where I'm going to invalidate this count and scrap it altogether. But it is something to keep in mind that for the most part, it is decreasing throughout this wave A and this wave B, but then we get a little bit of an uptick for this wave C, where you can see the moving average down here is going up just slightly. So like I said, it's not that significant, so I'm still going to consider this volume profile to be favorable to this count. But yeah, that's one thing you always want to look at when you're dealing with triangle correction. Then moving on to the next drawback right here, you cannot really make a nice zigzag out of this wave A, because typically for a triangle correction, you want all these substructures, so this A, this B, C, D, E, to all be comprised of zigzags. And for this wave B, you could easily make it into an A, B, C. You do the same thing with this wave C. But then when you move over to this wave A, you can't really do the same thing. Now what you could do is, if you consider this all an ending diagonal right here, then you could make this wave A into a WXY, where you put wave W here, X here, and Y here. Now, getting a WXY in a wave A does not tend to be that likely, so that definitely adds, or rather it takes away from the probabilities of this count being correct. So that's something to keep in mind. And overall, I'd give this count a rating of a 6 out of 10, given these drawbacks. So it's not as likely, in my opinion, as this flat count right here, or rather, right here. But it is something to keep in mind, especially if we do, come down a little bit lower and we start coming up here. Then you want to be looking at the volume profile, and if the volume profile is still pretty low or decreasing, that's the RSI. If the volume profile is still pretty low or even decreasing, then as we come up here for this wave D, then we could expect a rejection somewhere up here to continue this triangle. Okay, so the next and final count that I want to show you guys for today would be this WXY. And this WXY would actually be very similar to this running flat count that I showed you guys earlier, because this W wave would be the same as the A wave in the running flat, and this X wave would be the same as the B wave in the running flat. So this would be an expanded flat, and this would be a zigzag for the wave X. The only difference, excuse me, is that instead of putting in the wave C of this running flat to complete this primary wave 4, we're actually just going to be putting in this minor wave A to complete the A wave of a zigzag before we come up for the wave B through a 3-wave move, and then back down for the wave C for a 5-wave impulse. And I'm going to be personally keeping this channel on if this count is correct as a nice kind of target to look out for, which would come in around 31K. But another count that we could be looking at with the same WXY in mind is that instead of getting a zigzag here, well, actually, we could have already gotten a zigzag right here, where this would be all on A wave, this would be a B wave, and then this would all be a C wave. With this presumption in mind, we could also make a triangle out of this if we end up coming down for something like this: A, B, C, D, E. So that would look something like this. So it's hard to say whether this is going to happen at this point, but really, like always, you have to look at the volume profile. And if we end up coming up here and then rejecting, and then coming down here for the C wave and rejecting, then it's going to become more likely. But at this point, we just have to assume that I would say the probability of a triangle taking place for this wave Y is a little bit less likely, but it's something to keep in mind. So now let's go ahead and zoom in onto the lower time frames to give you guys my perspective on what we're looking at. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the 15-minute chart. All right, so now we're on the 15-minute chart, and one of the first things I'm going to ask myself when I see a move off the lows like this is whether it's a 5-wave impulse. So we've already seen a nice 12% increase to the upside, and let's see if it's a 5-wave impulse. If you were to make it into a 5-wave impulse, then you'd probably have to put a wave 1 somewhere around here, down for the wave 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, it's a very, if it is an impulse wave, it's very ugly, because let's zoom into this wave 1. You don't really get a nice 5 waves off this wave to complete this wave 1. It looks more like 3 waves up here. And then also, likewise, for this wave 5, wave 5 right here, it also looks like another 5 waves, or rather another 3 waves. So it's not a 5-wave move, it's a 3-wave move, which would mean it's more corrective. So it's a little bit difficult to say this is an impulse wave, but if it is, let's assume it is an impulse wave. One thing that we have to keep in mind is that this could all be a wave 4 if this is an expanded flat. So if this is an A wave, this is a B wave, and this is all a C wave to complete this wave 4, then we could be in this wave 5, this minute wave 5, and have yet to come lower. In which case, we'd be looking for something like a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, let's zoom in a little bit more to this section. Given what we've seen so far, it does not look that impulsive, because we've gotten more of a 3-wave move, and then we get a bounce up, which we're coming into this weekly level right now and getting a rejection. But to me, this looks more like a corrective move than an impulse move. So it's hard to say that this top of wave 4 is in. And for all we know, what could be more likely is this wave 4 was completed right here, and this wave 5 was completed right here. And like I mentioned, it does not make a nice impulse wave, but it is possible. So this could all be a wave 1. Then we came down for the wave 2, or we could be in the wave 2. So it could be an A, B, C, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a flat count. We don't know yet. We have to wait and see. But my conclusion right now, given this, I am in a short trade. I told you guys on Discord that I did take a short trade upon seeing a close below this monthly level. And I did take profits down here around 42.4K, which happens to be this golden pocket right here. I still am in a short trade from this monthly level, but right now I'm kind of 50-50 on whether it's going to go higher or lower. So I'm still just kind of waiting to see what happens. I'll zoom out a little bit to show you guys what may happen if we did bottom out. Like I mentioned, if this wave 5 is in the running flat, then we're just gonna observe it kind of roaring out of here in a 5-wave impulse, and we're gonna see increasing volume as we move our way up. Now, if we don't see increasing volume and instead we see kind of grinding up slowly with steady volume or even decreasing volume, then it's more likely that one of these counts, like the running triangle or the WXY, are in play, in which case we're going to come up for a zigzag, most likely, and then get a rejection back down. So that's my conclusion on the lower time frame. We have to wait and see what happens. That's kind of what I'm doing. I am in a short trade, but I'm very prepared to get stopped out if we come higher. So yeah, that's about all I wanted to show you guys in this video. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this in the future and what other topics you want to see me cover. And I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, take care. Bye.